Hey everyone, welcome to another OCM community meeting. We have lots to cover today, so let's get started. I'll first propose the idea of using GitHub to host OCM related Helm charts. Then later on, Maincam will talk about managed service accounts across multi-clusters. And then finally, Quinn Hao will do a quick demo of placement, extensible scheduling. Okay, let me share my screen. Oh, I was already sharing. So based on community feedback, we would like to have a place where we can post OCM related Helm charts. For example, in our documentation, in cluster proxy, for example, we have a repo here that is not a more genuinely publicly known source. So I would like to propose that we host our Helm charts on GitHub instead. So using GitHub and then GitHub pages with the Helm GitHub action workflow, we can have a nice integration of managing these Helm charts. And since it'll be hosted on a more known source, for example, it'll be in my current example, it'll be under my GitHub ID, but on Open Cluster Management, it'll be openclustermanagement.github.io/helmcharts. So that's a little bit more, how do I say it, a more neutral place to host the Helm charts. So I'm going to do a quick demo now. So currently on this sample Helm charts repo that I have a few charts. This OCM chart is not our real open cluster management. It's just a sample. So I got 3 charts here, and then we can see that the releases, every time it merges a chart onto the main branch, the GitHub action will do a release, and then it'll upload it to the and then it'll link it to, modify the index YAML file, which is the Helm repo file. So everything is taken care of relatively easily. So on my terminal right now, I have a freshly created client cluster. So I'm gonna do Helm repo. So right there, we can have other charts. And that's, of course, this is not the actual real OCM chart, but I'm just showing you an example. And that is to host a repo. And then in terms of seeing the GitHub action in action, so let's do something easy. Let's just increment the version number by 1. So normally you fork it and make a PR, but this time I'm just gonna, for the sake of time, I'm just gonna push it into the main branch. So when it pushes to the main branch, you go back to the repo here. It'll trigger the GitHub action, and then when this GitHub action finish executing, usually it's pretty fast. So it's already done. We can see the So it did a release automatically, and then if we go to the index YAML again, we can see that there it is. There's the version 8 that we just pushed, and then with the URL. So it seems like a pretty nice way of hosting Helm charts and managing the release and managing the life cycle of it. What do you guys think? I we don't have a lot of charts right now, but I think we can start with the cluster proxy one just to put it in a more neutral spot. So any thoughts, Anthony?
Yeah, so do we one thing is do we have a scope of what should be put in the Helm chart? I think most of the Helm chart will be the add-on and
Yep.
and anything else.
I think Ryan was suggesting to have an OCM hub install chart. Is that something you wanted, Ryan, or something you suggested?
Uh,
Go ahead, Mitch.
Because I don't know whether, so I actually not quite sure about the release part. Are we having, so I mean, for each add-on, it might have different kind of the version. So what will that be like if we tag release?
Oh, I see what you mean. So you're saying, okay, you're saying this is for every change is going to increment the version. It might be too frequent. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, yes. I think that because, for example, you have an add-on, let's say cluster proxy, and the cluster proxy might have a Helm chart index, and the version, I mean, the release version could be different. Like here, it could be start as 0.1, and the Helm chart start from 0.1, but it is not the for another Helm chart, like if we have a Helm chart to run the cluster manager, it could start with 0.6. So these two are not the same. So
I see.
do we want to merge every PR and then publish a new chart into that? Oh, that will only happen when we tag release.
But but we probably only want to do it per release. Because let's say a change happened in cluster proxy, we don't have to make the Helm chart changes, or do we have to? I guess Maincam is currently the owner of this repo. Maincam, can you talk a little bit how frequently you update this chart?
Almost on a daily basis. The you know the versioning of the Helm chart is following the server, so the granularity is a little bit bigger. So for example, if I have a really minor updates to my repo, so I can easily upload a Docker image by overriding the previous image. But as for the Helm charts, I'm not sure if the GitHub Actions, the jobs can support us to override the previously published the Helm charts. But if charts are served on a OSS, then we can just simply override the previous chart with the same
Okay,
identical version.
okay, I see. But is it a good practice though if we're overriding an existing chart but actually have changes in it? Maybe it's better to
Uh,
just implement like the minor number. Is this the minor number? Okay, but
um,
that okay.
yeah, I think we can. For now, in the release cycle of OCM, we are not bumping the patch number. Yeah, the Z number
I see.
of the version XYZ. But if we can have if we can bump a patch version on a weekly basis, then I think I see that that will be sufficient for us to see the near latest changes in the repo in the add-ons. By the way, I think the add-ons can also have a standalone versioning I mean, an independent versioning. For example, in the overall release version of OCM is like 0.050, but but for add-on, you can start with 1.00 and patch that the next patch will be 1.01, like that can be managing in completely different trees. So uh, the versioning can be I think it's every the owners of the add-ons can control the versioning of the add-on freely. But
Okay,
go sorry, go ahead.
okay, I understand. So I think generally I would say this is an okay idea, but with we need a lot of details that needs to be flushed out. So I think I'm gonna create an issue on our OCM, and then we can discuss it more in more details. Do you guys agree on QJang Maincam?
Yeah, sure. We
Yeah.
can we can open a ticket and discuss move the discussion over there.
Right. Okay. Are there any other questions related to the this part, the Helm charts part? If not, then Minkim, could you please talk about the managed service account across the multi-cluster? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let me share my screen first. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Uh, okay. Uh, so 3 days ago, we just opened a new repo named Managed Service Account. And the I just added a brief README to the to introduce the functionalities of this repo. So basically, it's an OCM add-on developed over add-on framework. So it, about about 2 weeks ago, we had a demo, which is I think that that was a failure, but so today I'm not gonna demo this again, but um to to um to put it shortly, I'm just gonna um, briefly talk about the basic the atomic capabilities provided by by this managed service account add-on. So it's the managed service account is just an atomic a really simple module that helps the users to synchronize service accounts to the managed clusters. And the other way around, the add-ons, the agents deployed in each of the managed clusters will also be consistently reporting the service account tokens back to the hub cluster. So by this way, any hub users or operators deployed in the hub clusters can use the tokens to access the managed clusters. For example, the cluster gateway, which I also demoed in the last OCM meetings. And this will be helpful for this is also helpful for us to to have a to standardize the service accounts in each of the managed cluster. For example, in a multi-cloud platforms, if we are adopting third-party clusters from outside of the vendor, then it's gonna then the adopted clusters can have completely different authentication systems. So the client identities can be completely different in a different system. So we can so the identity is different. So we can we can use the same RBAC policies to grant access to the to some subjects from these hub clusters. So by this managed service account add-ons, we can easily synchronize the service accounts between the hub clusters and the managed clusters by creating a managed service account resource. Then every managed clusters will have a same will be provisioning a service account resource with the same namespace and the same name. Then it will be easy for us to have a RBAC policy to prescribe to grant the service account, the local service accounts sufficient RBAC permissions to do their job. So basically the add-on also needs to be installed by an Helm chart. The Helm chart basically consists of only a add-on manager. Then the add-on managers will be installing the add-on agents to the managed service accounts. Overall, the managed service accounts is working really similar to the manifest work because there's no control plane in the hub clusters. All we need to do in the hub clusters is just installing the add-on manager and the CRD of the managed service accounts. Then it's the add-on agents in each of the managed clusters that pulling the managed service accounts from the hub clusters and the requesting tokens to the from the corresponding service accounts using the another API named the token request. So as for the usage, it's like after installing the add-on, the add-on framework supports us to automatically discover the managed clusters. So any newly registered clusters will also be installed the managed service accounts add-on agents, and in the next, if we want to create a local service account to certain managed clusters, all we need to do is just create a managed service account to a cluster namespace. Then a local service account with the same name of the managed service accounts, and under the same namespace where the add-on agent lives will be provisioned automatically. And if everything works well, you're gonna see the status of the managed service account resource will be refreshed by the add-on agents. It's gonna be something looks like this, and the service account tokens will be persisted as a secret resource, which is also referenced in the status of the managed service accounts. And I think that's basically all the functionality of managed service accounts. It's really intuitive. It's really simple. The native service accounts APIs in the Kubernetes, it's also really simple. It's the spec of the native service accounts can even be an empty struct, which is the thing we're trying to follow in our managed service accounts API. As you see, the spec is almost empty, but we still need to fill out this rotation rotation field with a empty struct due to some limitations of the CRD. But primitively, it's also a empty struct. So and as for future plans, now the managed service accounts only works in it's only supposed to be created against a cluster namespace. But in the future, we hope the managed service account will also work with a cluster set namespace. For those who don't know what is a cluster set namespace, it's basically a standalone namespace where we bind a namespace to a managed cluster set. Then it's like a workspace where we are manipulating multiple clusters to other clusters binded to the managed cluster set. So if we are creating the managed service accounts to the cluster sets namespace, or the managed clusters bound to the cluster sets will also be creating the service accounts automatically. And the corresponding secrets should also be reported from the managed clusters into their cluster namespace. And as for how to use the managed service accounts, if you are interested, you can scheme at the implementations of this project, Cluster Gateway, which is another add-on actually, and which is this watching the manage cluster add-on resources and also watching the managed clusters. The add-on manager in the Cluster Gateway will be creating managed service accounts resources for each of the discovered clusters to do some more complex things. I think that's basically all of managed service accounts. Do you guys have any questions? By the way, I'm also gonna put this add-ons to the. We can also put this add-on to as a Helm chart published to the Helm chart repo, or central Helm chart repo.
Yeah, that sounds great. I'm still thinking what's the expanded usage if we for this service count. Like, is it possible that we could have some way that a controller on a hub that can leverage this service?
Yeah. Another use case I can think of is to if practically we can like dispatching we can dispatch the resources for an application as a single manifest work resource in the hub cluster. While so a typical manifest work for an application will consist of a deployment and the service accounts, which is used by the deployment. Then what if we want the service account to be shared across two manifest work? Then we're gonna or even more manifest work. Um, in other words, if we want several applications to share one service account, it's not then I think we can use this framework to manage the service accounts. In the future, we're gonna also provide more advanced capability for dedicated for managing service accounts.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maincam. Are there any other questions? If not, thank you so much, Maincam, for presenting the managed service account. I think next up is Queen Hal with the placement extensibility scheduling demo. Queen Hal, whenever you're ready, please take it away. Thank you.
Hello, let me share my screen. Okay. So today I want to do a demo for the placement extensible scheduling. In previous meeting, we have talked about the proposal, and today I want to show that how user can use the scores in our new API add-on placement score to select clusters. Also, before the demo, there are some preconditions if you want to configure the customized score in your placement. You should already have your managed cluster imported in your environment. Here I have 3 clusters. And then you need to have your controller or agent running in your cluster to maintain the lifecycle of your add-on placement score. So for the demo, I just write a score 2 to generate some fake scores for each managed cluster. It will create a add-on placement score with CR name demo1, and it will update the score with an interval 30 seconds. Okay, I start the score 2, and then you can check the add-on placement score. You can see there are 3 add-on placement scores CR generated for each managed cluster. And we can check some details. Or you can see the information are updated in the status. There are conditions. The scores, it contains a list of the score name and score value, and a valid until is the valid time for your scores. And also you can, if you go through all the items, you can see that so each cluster 1, 2, 3, we have CPU ratio score and the memory ratio score. So in the following demo, I will use this score to select clusters. Okay, the first case is that I want to select 2 clusters with the highest customized score, CPU ratio. I want to use this score to select clusters. Also, I can define my placement as below. To show you clearly, I define the prioritized mode as exact, and my score coordinate, the tab is add-on. I would prefer to choose the CR name with demo1, and the score name is CPU ratio, and the number of cluster is 2. Okay, then I create this placement. If you describe the event, you can see how the controller chooses your clusters. Each cluster has a score. The score is exactly what I have updated with my score 2. And then if you check the placement decision, the cluster 1 and 2, which has the higher score, are chosen. Also, As in our design, our placement controller won't watch every change in every add-on placement CR. That will cause a frequently reschedule. So instead, the placement controller will just reschedule every 5 minutes. So in this demo, I reduced the time to 30 seconds. So when the score tool is keep updating the score, and if you check the placement event, you can soon see that some scores are updated. And if you check the placement decision, you can see it's updated when your cluster score changes. In the latest time, it's still cluster 1 and 2 are the top score. But if you wait for a few more seconds, there might be new decision generated. Okay, like this. Oh, in this demo, it seems always the cluster 1 and 2 are the top one, but actually the decision will keep changing when your score changes. So that's by design. So let's introduce another case. So what if I still want to choose the score with CPU ratio, but I want to keep the decision steady? Also, to keep the decision steady, you can introduce another prioritizer called steady. To make the decision steady, you can configure it with a higher weight, and then you create this placement. Or you can see that we have a webhook to fill in your configuration with our new format. So you have two prioritizers in this placement. And this time, if you grab the event, you can see there are one score update event, and there is one decision. If you wait for more than 30 seconds and check the event again, you can see there is no update. That means the decision is keep steady. Okay, you can see there is no update in the event. Okay, this is the second case. The last case is that with the customized score, I want to select clusters with the lowest score. So that, for example, I can go into that cluster to see if there is something wrong with that cluster or do some other checkings. So to select the cluster with the lowest score, you can just define the score weight with a negative weight. A negative weight means I not prefer to select that cluster or do a reverse selection. With this configuration, I create the placement. You can see the events. All the clusters have a negative score. So you check the decision, you can see the cluster 1 with the lowest score are selected. That's a usage for the negative weight. Okay, that's all for my demo. I will stop here if you have any questions.
Hi. I saw a configuration parameter named mode, which value is exact. What can you elaborate? What does that mean?
This is a API we introduced when we implement the resource-based scheduling. So exact means we will just the placement controller will just use the prioritizer you defined in this YAML. Another mode is additive. That means we have some default prioritizer. They are the steady and balance. And also we will do a merge if you configure other prioritizers in your YAML. So if you define an add-on and mode is additive, there will actually be 3 prioritizers: steady, balance, and your add-on score.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions for Queen Hal? Thank you, Queen Hal, for that placement demo.
Yeah, so for the score tool, just write like a fake tool to generate some fake scores. So other controllers may have a guideline, like a best practice in the future, so you can follow that to generate your own controller. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. One more topic that we want to discuss is we actually want to go over some of the 0.6 release items and see what their progress is. Yuan Yuan, do you want to drive this discussion where we can talk about how far we're in the 0.6 release?
Oh, okay, so give me a minute, please.
Yes, sorry about that. I just remember that we should be talking about the point six status, and we have I think we have a few minutes left.
Okay, yeah, so so I didn't prepare, so what do you expect me to do here?
Oh, it's okay then. I'll share my screen and then we'll talk about it. Can you guys see my screen?
Oh, yeah.
So I think we just want to briefly go over what our current status in terms of completion for the 0.6 release. So I'll start first. For the adopting OCM the placement API for the app lifecycle, it's pretty much functional complete. I needed to work on automation testing and documentation, and then it should be done by the end of next week. For the other items, for calling API one, I don't think I have permission. Oh, I do have. Okay. For this item, Maincam, do you know if you actually completed or in progress of it?
I think this ticket actually consists of multiple repos and enhancements. By the way, they're all add-ons. So I'm kind of confused whether to connect the overall OCM release with the add-on release.
I see. Tujan, do you want to talk a little bit about
Uh, I have no idea actually. I think we don't really need to, but for each OCM release, we also so it doesn't really need to have a release of an add-on. But commonly, when we have a release announcement for the OCM, if there's some release that happens before for the add-ons, we also talk about that in the release announcement. For example, for the class ADM or the application, we also mention that in the release release announcement in the 0.5 for the OCM. So I think for the cluster proxy, for example, if we I'm not sure whether what we want to achieve in the let's say in the January And do we want to have another release like 0.2 that we add some more things into that, and we can put it in a whole OCM release?
Okay. I was just about to publish a release for the cluster proxy add-ons the other days. I guess I'm gonna start with v 0.10 version. I will be sending a published images really soon. But the documentation is already available in our webpage. Yeah, it's good to remind the users to know that there are new add-ons available in OCM overall in the release note.
Thank you, Maincam. I'm gonna talk about the next item, the new repository MultiCloud integration. This one is about the Argo CD integration. During the meeting, I think during the presentation, Josh mentioned there's a couple things that need to be changed before we can push it to the OCM community. So I think that is still in the work. So I don't think we're ready for that yet. As for reduce SAR calls from register opening, Wei Liu, are you on the call? Is this in progress, completed, or?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think this task has finished. Yeah, and also the manager class, the capacity include also finished. Yeah.
Thank you. Jeng, what about this manifest workload status was created by? I think this is you have a prototype that you presented, but I don't think.
Yeah, it's still in progress. I think we could finish it in the January. Currently it is in the API review. So yeah,
Okay.
it's in progress.
And regarding the scheduling, I guess that's what we did last time. Is that the demo that you did, Queen Hao? Are those all considered completed, or it's still in your own fork?
I think this one is only we only show a prototype, but we still not finish the controller. You can make it in progress. I have a question actually about this item. We definitely can finish the extensible scheduling framework, but if we want to support the scheduling based on resource usage, we may need another component to collect the resource usage and create the add-on scores. So what do you think, Qiu Jian? Should we cover this in this release?
I don't have any requirement on that. I think actually we discussed this before, like we have several alternatives options to do that. Because currently we don't have a way to collect the resource usage in OCM. Well, we can do that, for example, in a registration that collect the requested CPUs, but put it under a feature gates. I'm not sure whether it's a good option. But in that way, that means that the registration needs to report for example, a default add-on scores if that feature gates is enabled. I'm not sure whether that sounds good for everyone here, but that's one alternative we can do. Another option is we have another add-on that to report such score. But the problem I see here is that add-on is very small. It just collects some things and update on Hub, and that can be it might be too trivial for a new repo to be created. But I think Ming also mentioned about that we should have a contrib repo that just puts some code for the integration of the small add-ons. So that might should discuss later.
So my suggestion is I will update the description of this item. We only provide the extensible scheduling capability. And if someone wants to leverage this capability, they need to develop their controllers to create the add-on score. What do you think? Okay.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you. What about the other two placement enhancement? Could you briefly talk about them?
Yeah, I think they are all in progress, and we can cover it in this release.
I'm less sure about the global part because it's just currently there's still a proposal in the enhancement repo. We haven't finished the proposal review. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Pujan. Juliana, do you want to, if you're on the call, do you want to mention anything regarding the release, or you okay?
No, I think I'm good. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Juliana. Are there any other questions? Oh, go ahead.
One question for Chujian. The running classlet outside of main cluster, should we put it in this release? I didn't see that in the list.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I will add it. I will add that later, but that is still in progress.
Thank you, Pujan.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I think we're running low on time. Thank you everyone for joining today. Due to the winter holidays, we're not going to have another community meeting this month. The next meeting will be in 2022, January 7th. So early Happy New Year's to everyone, and see you all next year. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you next year.
Bye bye.